Welcome family to Mimi's Home and Garden. One of my favorite things at Costco is the rotisserie chicken that you can pick up there. Very inexpensive, around $5, but I'm going to share with you all the different ways I can use up one rotisserie chicken. They smell so good and they taste so good, and there's just so much you can do with one chicken. So the first thing I do when I bring a hot chicken home is I'm going to slice off some of the chicken meat and then have a big salad with it. So that's the number one meal I make. I just take a knife and just slit down the side of the chicken, cut up some of that really delicious white meat and put that on a plate, and then I've made a huge salad to go with that. And we eat that up for dinner when I first bring this rotisserie chicken home. Now this is the first one in a while. I kind of burned my husband out on him there for a while. I was getting one a week and he's like, I just can't eat any more chicken. So it's been a long time really actually since I purchased one, and I thought I'd just bring you along on this video and show you how I use the rotisserie chicken meat, the bones, and even the surprise ending with the container. So I'm making a big tossed salad. I purchased the salad greens from Costco and the cucumbers and the tomatoes, and I just place that on a plate alongside of that beautiful, delicious chicken. And that's what we have for supper, and it's so good and so easy and such a fast dinner. And this is one that my husband does love, is a big salad with some type of meat. So that's what I did for the first meal. And I think Sam's Club also has these chickens. So if you don't have a Costco membership, you could get this from Sam's, or if you bake your own chicken, this would work too. So this is my salad because I love black olives, and I'm just going to cut some up on my salad. Now the next step, after I have made our salads and we've eaten our dinner, I take all the meat off the chicken, every bit of it, and I separate my white meat from my dark meat, and then I kind of decide what's the next meal I'm going to make out of this. So the next step is after we've had dinner, I take all the meat off the chicken and I just pull it and put it in two separate bowls. If you know what you're going to make, you could put it all together. That's fine. This is just how I did it because I wasn't quite sure yet what I was going to do with it. But anyway, I'm taking all the meat off. I'm taking the skin off, but saving the skin and the carcass of the chicken because we're going to make some homemade broth with that. Again, it's pretty much cooled down and it's ready to take off the bone. It's been after dinner now. So all of this is in one night. This is how I use up one rotisserie chicken in one night. Okay, now that all of the meat has been removed from the chicken, I take the skin and the bones and I put it in my crock pot. And this is where I make really good homemade chicken broth. So in the crock pot, I put in 1 gallon of water. And you can see it's nice and full. I'm going to add a tablespoon of Himalayan salt. You can use any kind of salt. I just like the pink Himalayan. I'm adding in 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, some chopped up celery, and even the celery leaves. And I'm going to be adding in a couple of carrots that I've cut up into chunks because I want a really good, healthy, delicious tasting broth. Now this is where those dehydrated onions, and I do have a video on that, how to dehydrate your onions. This is where this comes in great because they're going to rehydrate while this is cooking for 12 hours. So I'm just adding in 2 heaping tablespoons of my dehydrated onions. Now I let this sit. I made this up at night and it's going to sit in the crock pot for 12 hours. So all night long this is cooking and getting all of those nutrients out of the chicken bones and the skin. You can see what a nice thick beautiful chicken broth I have. But we don't want all those bones and skin pieces, and the vegetables have pretty much cooked to pieces, so I'm just going to scoop my strainer and get all of that out because I just want the broth. So just using a strainer, and the broth is still nice and warm. You do this while it's warm. And now I'm going to take the broth that's left in the crock pot and run it again through a strainer just to make sure I'm not getting any little bits and pieces of meat or skin. So I just pour all this through the strainer into a big bowl. Then I'll let this bowl sit on the counter until it has cooled to a nice temperature that I can pour it into Ziploc bags. Now you could pressure can this chicken broth, but I didn't really have time for that. I just wanted to package it and go ahead and get it in the freezer. So there's my Ziploc bags. I've labeled them chicken broth. I do have a video, and I'll try to link it below, where I make beef bone broth. It's so good, and it's so good for you. But I didn't have any chicken in the freezer, so I wanted to get some of that made up. So I always label my bags so I'll know which is which. But there's the chicken broth, and I was able to get 4 quarts of chicken broth off that one rotisserie chicken. Now this can be used in recipes. You can make chicken soup with it. I'm doing my bags in 2.5 cup measurement because I like to open this up and just have sipping broth. When I feel like a cold is coming on or something, I'll just sip on the broth. So that was 2.5 cups per quart bag, and I ended up with a total of 4 quarts of broth. Very delicious broth. It's just so good for you. So I've got some good stock to put in the freezer. And in part 2 of this video, I'm going to share with you what to do with that chicken meat that we took off the bone. We're going to make a hot chicken salad. So make sure you watch part 2 of how I use up one rotisserie chicken. And thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you have a very blessed day.